This episode of Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is brought to you by the awesome people over at Apex Entertainment. Apex, located in Marlboro, is located right off Route 495 on Route 20. It's 100,000 square feet of pure fun for all ages. There's always perfect weather at Apex Entertainment, and it's an ideal location for a birthday party, corporate outing, or special event. Or, you know what? Just to go and have some fun. Attractions include 30 bowling lanes, multi-level indoor go-kart track, laser tag, bumper cars, rope course, and arcade. Go check out apexentertainment.com. Razor and I thanks Apex Entertainment for all of their support. Well, an opportunity to really close out a homestand that was pretty damn good. The Boston Bruins close it out and made it just, okay, pretty good. I guess go from pretty damn good to just pretty good as the Bruins lose to the Anaheim Ducks. 5-3 is your final. Welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, the show that is now virtually on the glass at TD Garden.
Yeah.
That's right. We are now bigwigs on the glass, at least for today. Razor, it was a Monday night at the Garden. You were rinkside. What was it like down there, bud? Besides, you being Razor down
Cold.
there,
Yeah.
Cold. Jeez.
Beside being cold. Oh, it's freezing down there.
You gonna start giving me weather reports?
No, I'm on the ice. My feet are freezing and down on the ice. You're standing on the concrete. It's like being in the minor hockey rink on Saturday morning. It's just cold. I mean, it was a dog of a game. It was sloppy and poorly played, I thought, especially on the Bruins side. All game. Just there was no buzz, no excitement, and
okay.
They got what they deserved.
Here's my philosophy. Okay.
Yeah.
You tell me if I'm full of it, which we know I am, but if I'm right or wrong, maybe. All right.
Mm-hmm.
It's Monday night. I know as a player, it's either game day or not a game day. I get it. However, it's Monday night. You're at home for a 7th consecutive home game if you're the Bruins. You have just come off 2 intense games at home, in particular, a Capitals game, and then you have the Winnipeg Jets, a team just like Anaheim you don't have much history against. What I mean by that history, it's like not this intense, regular rivalry. But that Saturday game, and mind you, that was my last COVID day. I'm at home watching it. But that Saturday afternoon game, which wasn't a 1 o'clock game, which means a lot different, by the way, in beverage intake between 1 and 3, when you start at 3, it's a more festive atmosphere. It's I would call it a more like, let's get after it type atmosphere. And that game got pretty physical and pretty intense and everything. And you know what, man? I think if you're the Bruins, and not an excuse, I think they came into this game just like, we've been at home for a long time. And now we got another game against a team that, okay, we respect, but, the Ducks. And the Ducks, meanwhile, came in, bud, and they were like, hey, we got a bunch of young kids that are from the area, want to impress. This is a big Eastern Conference road trip. And we're going to show what we're made of, so to speak. We're going to go out and play with youthful energy and not realize that maybe we're not supposed to win this game. And I don't think the Bruins could ever get into it, really. I mean, is that a fair take right there?
It's absolutely, completely fair. And I'm going to add a couple more things on.
Please
a couple
do.
more things to think about.
Mm-hmm.
One would be, okay, so let's think about if you're maybe one of the single guys or maybe one of the younger guys. You have that 3 o'clock game. You're done on Saturday night at 6:30, 7 o'clock. You get to actually enjoy the Saturday night evening, hang out and watch football Saturday night, hang out and watch football all day Sunday, and then have to wake up and get ready for an Anaheim Ducks. If you're married and you play the afternoon game, you have a few kids, you're going on the road for 10 days. Guess who's poking you to get up and out of bed early Sunday morning and Monday morning, and all the things that you have to get done off the checklist before you head out of town on that Sunday, on
I
that
know
Monday.
I'd be poking somebody too if I'm heading on the road for a while.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. That probably happened Saturday night. You have to get up extra early on lack of sleep. So the point is that these guys, these 7 days on the road or at home, it's a long homestand. There's a lot that needs to
Especially for
get
an
done.
Eastern Conference team.
It is. The guys are used to ping ponging in and out, having their routine, having a night, 2 nights a week where they get to sleep, where they get to have their quiet time. And in this case, they've been home for 2 weeks straight, and it starts to build up. And then again, on top of it, it's not like they're just going away for 1 or 2 days. They're going away for 5, 6, 7 days. They're getting a day off in Arizona. Everybody knows that, so that everything has to get done. So I think you're spot on. The Monday night cadence of things, coming off a full Sunday of shit to do for everybody.
Or nothing to do, by the way. Nothing to do can also be
Yeah, or
yeah,
being out and just sleeping in all morning, or
yeah.
whatever it is, just really did affect this team. And on the flip side, you have a team that's starting their road trip. The guys are excited. They finally got away from their home. They had a night out in Boston. They all got to go to dinner and see people that they haven't
Mhm.
seen in a really long time. I know my agent was in town to meet with one of his clients. They went to dinner in the North End. They went to Mike's Pastries. They were at the game. He was
Smart.
excited.
Yeah,
The
smart.
whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So we can blame
Everybody,
Mike's. We can blame
and
Mike's. Yeah,
you have
yeah.
4 or 5 Boston slash BU slash Hockey East guys in the mix, and they're excited to play. So nail on the head. It was just an all around bad recipe for this group. Just
Right.
7 game road trip or
So you do
homestand.
realize, though, you do realize, and we, but I'll say me because I'm the one who laid out this is my theory, and I do think that it's pretty accurate, and it's not an excuse again, but there are people there sitting saying, "You guys are full of shit. That shouldn't matter." The point is what I'm trying to get at. They're human still. So
Yes,
as much as we always say it's game day or not game day, there's still a human element to it that has to be taken into consideration. And the best
that's right.
teams don't allow it to affect them nearly as often as the teams that are weaker. And I don't mean weaker, I mean weaker minded or weaker, whatever. But I just felt like this was a recipe. As soon as I saw their lack of extra jump, their lack of maybe smarts at times, that's when I felt like I knew that this game had gotten them. And the only way they got out of this is that they got rewarded not just once, but multiple times when they had those thrusts, because it didn't feel and it didn't feel like the whole team was in on it in this game. It just didn't.
No, and I think that's a big thing. I think it's important to point out, like, these aren't excuses. I think we do this show. You and I do this show to explain exactly what's happening.
We
And
try.
yes, the players can't go out, can't say it. I get it. The players can't say it, but I'm telling, this is the way it is. And that's it, it's not an excuse. It's not, it doesn't have to be accepted by the for the person who paid $150 to go watch them play.
Mhm.
But that's the reality. This is complete reality. And it doesn't need to be excused away. It's just the way it is. And if you want to know what happened, that's very likely what happened. And um, I think that segues into Tuukka Rask and
Mhm.
why goals went in. I know I'm always on the goalie side, but I think I'm doing it from a point of analysis where this is why pucks went in, or this is the reason. And there's no excuse. If you give 5 goals up, if you give 5 goals up in one period, you stink, right? Like, that's the reality of the NHL. I'm When I was down right beside the locker room when the guys are coming in after a game, and I was sitting there thinking, man, I forgot how much it sucks when you lose in the NHL. and there's no excuses. There's reasons for these losses, but it sucks how stressful and how you walk, the coaches walk by and then the trainers walk by and the players walk. It's just really miserable.
And when you're
And
not, by
I
the
also
way,
think that
when you're not part of it, which you are, but you're not anymore. That's the difference is, and
no, I'm not part of it at all.
you
I'm
know what
not
I
part of
mean?
it at
No,
all.
but
No.
meaning
Yeah.
they all know who you are, but and they know that you lived it. But now you're the outside guy looking in or whatever. And so you stand there, and I've been there literally hundreds of times, is between the bench guy, besides the locker and whatever. And you stand there and you kind of want to do the Homer Simpson at times where you just kind of shrink, back into the hedges, because even though you got to
Yeah.
stand there and do your gig, you're like, okay, act like you don't see me, or act like I don't see them, type of thing,
Yeah.
but you do analyze, you look side to side, you look, at least I do, I look at facial, expressions and that stuff, but you're like, holy shit, yeah, losing does suck. Now you have to learn how to move on from it quickly as a player,
Hmm.
right? But it
Oh
it
no,
does suck.
you do. Yeah, and it does. It's unbelievable, the feeling, but anyways, it's just a matter of, like, these guys don't like to lose. They hate it. It sucks. It's really miserable for everybody, and there's no excuses made by them. But there's a lot of stuff going on, and I think that's what we're just trying to touch on.
Right.
Um,
All right,
and
so let's
again,
talk about Tuukka.
yeah, exactly. So we'll segue that. So you can't give up 5 goals. Obviously, there's no way you can justify that. I would say that it wasn't really an easy game to play. I was down beside the benches. I was up close the whole time. Nothing was nothing was obvious on the ice. Everything was a broken play. It felt like the Bruins were giving a puck away behind the net a lot. Um, the defense didn't have very good gap on that Terry goal in the third. Goes through him. He's got to find a way. But McAvoy's all the way back into the hash mark, similar to the Getzlaf goal.
Yep.
Carlos way back. So um, the first goal got tipped. I saw that right away. Definitely got hit something
Grant leg.
right in
Yep,
front of the
hit
net. I know
Grant's leg.
Getzlaf had it for 2 periods, but Grant got it. It was pretty obvious. So it's one of those games where everything looks really horrible, and you have to make a save on one or two of those. It's a product
Right, so
of
hold on. All right, let
everything
me.
happening together.
Right, all
Yeah.
fair, fine. And when I say I'll buy it, I'm not saying you're selling me BS. I'm saying I'll buy, like, the tip, that first goal. It turns out, yeah, I mean, he's trying to get out there, and it's a tip. Nothing he can do. We're going to touch on the shorthanded goal in a moment. We will, okay? Because
Mhm.
that to me was, I know mistakes happen, but that to me was the egregious one. That's the whoa, come on. But how does he get to the point to where pucks just hit him because of where and how he is? You know what I mean? That's when we
Mhm.
always said he's at his best, when he reads the play, first of all, side to side. But so is it just a matter of, Bruce said after the game, he thinks it's 7 to 8 games. Somebody had texted me and said, is Butch calling him out? Is he putting him on? I said, I didn't take it that way. I thought it was more of a matter of fact that I thought it was a matter of fact. He's like, he's not where he needs to be yet. We didn't expect him. We weren't sure if he would. Like, this is where he needs to be. He's going to have to be better. He's not where he needs to be. I didn't think that was calling him out. I don't know if you heard it or not. Did you? Did you get a chance? I didn't think it was
Yeah,
calling him out at
I
all.
li- no, I listened to it on the way home. I don't think so. I think it was just explaining this is where he's at. He said he's playing Friday or Sunday. He's going to get his games in here, and he's going to
Right.
play. And um, they're fortunate they're in a position where they can play him a little bit and get him ready. They didn't expect him, coming off hip surgery, to be perfect right away. They're playing the long game with him. They want him to be good in March and April. That's
Right.
so the knee jerk reaction is bananas to me.
Yeah,
Absolutely
but that is
bananas.
what it
You
is.
know,
That
I
is,
get it.
yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
All right. So how does
Um,
he get? So how does he get big? Is it just fighting through traffic, learning, getting back into that that mindset that, instead of 6 inches here, he's 6 inches out more? I mean, what is that for him?
Well, I
What does
think
that
I
mean?
honestly, I think a little there again, and I've said goaltending's a lot of circumstance. It really is. You're at the mercy of circumstance a lot, and I'm this game, the Carolina game, were two really like no one's gonna thrive in those games. Even if you're talking about Igor Shesterkin,
Uh-huh.
where he's at in his game. So I think a little bit he needs a 40 shot game where he gets a ton of point shots and a ton of work that's right in front of him. That's real easy to read and track. He needs one of those games to start feeling good. And uh, I think also, I would, knowing Tuukka a little bit, I think he also is needs a little pressure. Right. I
Hmm.
think he's still knows he's in a bit of a honeymoon session here, and he has the ability to just play a few games and get used to it where he doesn't have to dig in yet. So I think he also is going to get to that point where that in that 7 to 8 game mark where he can no longer sit back and say, well, I'm still working on things. And I think that'll also click in at some point too, which is let's I give him after the All-Star break. I bet he gets a little break again there. You can also look ahead a little bit on that after this
Hmm.
road trip, his first road trip of the season. So you look at him tighten up, lock the screws down after that All-Star break where he recognizes, all right, I can no longer sit back and say, well, I'm still rehabbing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I didn't. The only goal I want to really touch on, is that shorthanded goal, where again I get that mistakes happen, but that to me was almost the epitome of what the team was going through. He was there, but then he just slid and his stick wasn't there. And like, I guarantee you, he had one of those slow motion moments in his head where he saw the puck all of a sudden going through
Oh,
his
yeah.
legs. And he's just saying to himself, are you freaking kidding me? Now, I know he's learned to be zen in the crease and it's all this and that, but I did almost think that we'd get one of those, are you effing kidding me looks. But he stares ahead. He must be thinking that though, Razor. He must be on that goal.
Yeah. And he called him, he said it was terrible afterwards. And it's that play where it just hits the stick. He's expecting him to pull back. He's going to go wide, and the puck rolls off his stick, ends up going 5-hole. It happened the other night, and I'm going to forget who did it, but it's that Kucherov goal. Kucherov did
Yeah.
it against
He's
Leonard in the
yeah.
shootout. He fakes shot and just lets it slide through. It happened 2 nights ago, but it was a sonk. It was a fake out one where he shot it and he missed it,
Yeah.
and it goes through his legs, and you combine that with the 4 other goals, it's brutal.
All right. Let's
Team
shuffle through
wasn't
a
that
few.
good.
No.
Yeah.
Um I felt like in this game you noticed Anaheim's size again throughout the lineup. They did. And
Now,
we
now. So I quickly though, because I was thinking the same thing. And is it because we just think that Anaheim's a big team? Like, because that's my prerequisite. I think of them when I played against them in Dallas 8 times a year in 2012, like Ryan Getzlaff, Corey Perry,
Mhm.
all of these guys, they always were big. And Chris Pronger, and I mean, I played against all those guys out there, but I was wondering, and I'm curious if you think about it, like my predetermined stereotype of Anaheim was that they're a big, strong, physical team,
Okay.
and they are that. But is it that different than the Bruins? I guess size
Okay, let
wise.
me get specific here to your question. The rosters that were submitted for this game, Boston Bruins,
This is why I asked you
average
because I knew you'd have the roster and at the average teed
six
right
one,
off.
6'1", 196.
Mhm.
Anaheim Ducks, 6'1", 199. Okay, that's the average. And by the way, the average age of Anaheim is 26.8, the Bruins 28.8. So a 2-year difference average is pretty big, when you think about it.
That's
We
huge,
know
yeah,
how young
especially when they
Anaheim
have
is.
Getzy, who's
Act,
Getsy's like
actually,
99.
yeah, exactly. Anaheim may even be a little bit now. These are Cam Fowler wasn't on the active roster until later. He's 6'2", 215. They were also missing Josh Manson, who's 6'3", 218. So those are two big dudes. Now the Bruins, who were they missing, you may ask? They were missing Brent Frederick, 6'3", 210. John Moore's listed at 6'3", 207. I didn't realize John was that big, that tall. But he's not what you would call a physical big player. My point is this. From a statistic perspective, no, not that different. From a stylistic approach, yeah, different. They're bigger. They play bigger. It's a guy like Carrick, who's not huge, but he's just big enough, but he plays an edge game. It's guys like, now Robinson, this kid was 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, he's a big boy.
But he's a big boy.
He stood out down there. He's
going Delorier, a big guy. But obviously he got hurt. We'll touch on that coming up in just a moment. But just the way that some of their guys play, you look at their fifth, sixth defenseman, a guy like Patterin, a guy who's just, been a journeyman his whole life, 6'2", 221. Solid. That's just a good size guy, right? Derek Grant, 6'3", 210. Where's he going to play? He shuffles around your lineup. He plays different spots. I just feel like overall the DNA is just a little bit different. I do, the mentality, and therefore it looks to me like they play a little more physical. All right, so the Bruins get into something. There's this physical play with Steen on Delorier. I'm still surprised it wasn't a 5-minute major. I am.
Oh, I'm shocked. Shocked.
And I had one fan, I don't remember who it was, reach out and said, how is it any different than the Hathaway hit on Marchand? I think it's very different.
Night and day.
Night and day, right. As much as, I still say that the Hathaway hit was a cheap shot, he didn't run him, he hit him from behind, but he doesn't pummel him into the boards, hit him from behind. And while the Hathaway penalty, I would have even minded Hathaway getting a fine or whatever. It's not, we said it both, it wasn't suspendable. And I don't think that, I don't think that Steen will get suspended. I don't, but I'm shocked he didn't get a 5-minute major on that one, Razor. The way that he hit Delorier hard from behind with his stick up right in between the numbers.
Agree completely. And the fact that they actually went to video and did it did the proper thing, calling it a major so they could actually look at it and then rescind it was shocking. I would have maybe understood it more had they called just a 2-minute minor and they didn't really see it. And then you look at it after and you're like, whoa, could have got away with one there. But for them to be able to look at it over and over again and somehow deduce that wasn't 5 was shocking to me. I would have,
everybody on our telecast tonight felt the same way.
Yeah. And that typically doesn't happen.
You're right. It doesn't.
Guy. Yeah.
It shows that we all don't know what we're talking about, I guess.
Yeah. 100% wrong.
Right. So we're all crap, folks. So don't listen to Morning Bru because we don't know what we're talking about. No, I was just surprised.
Yeah, no, it was a penalty. It was 5 minutes.
All right. Nick Foligno gets into a little, something with Gibson in between, going to a TV timeout. Was that the reason for the fight? Yeah, it was. It absolutely was. And Nick, I believe, was going out of his way to make sure that he was yapping because of the way that the Ducks were going after Steen. All of them were going after Steen, trying to get him to do so. You know what I mean? To get after. Steen's not a fighter. But they were saying, hey, look, Delorier, the guy that got hit and hurt, is our tough guy. And he always stands up for us no matter what. And he has been a good tough guy the last couple of years. So we're going to stand up for him here. And eventually when Foligno finally said, all right, I'm involved in this, then it was like Carrick said, I want it. Getzlaff had been talking to him. I think it was kind of a race to see who could get out there against Uncle Nick first for that.
It was because he's the only one out there that's is willing to do it. And there was a face-off at center ice, and Zegras got kicked out on purpose, I think, So Getzlaf went over and ended up lining up with Steen, and he was right. And I mean, Getzlaf can handle himself.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
not going to do it anymore, but he's no joke. And yeah, it was inevitable. Foligno chirping the bench. Gibson gives him a shot. Everyone was on edge a little bit, and Uncle Nick got in there and ate a right hand, which happens in a fight. He got back up, tried to get back up, but I would assume that has to do with why he missed the rest of the game with an upper body injury.
Absolutely. The spotter
The
saw it
spotter's going to
immediately.
take him. You have to take a guy out of the game if he drops like that, even if he's tells you he's okay.
Yeah. Well, they go through a battery of tests. It's at least 15 minutes and everything. They must have seen something that they did not like.
Yeah.
After that. Yeah. I mean, I absolutely know that, feel that Foligno was going in there to take all the pressure off of everybody going after Steen. Like, all right, you got your guy now. Here you go. Come on. Like, I'm making myself available. One of you guys.
Yeah, I'll be the guy. Someone needs to fight. Steen's
Right.
not going to do it. I'll do it for
Right.
I'll do it. Yeah.
Let's get over it. And then so in
Yeah.
the third period, they didn't focus on Steen at all. You
Uh-huh.
notice that? Not at all. They went to play. So I go back to this comment question. The Bruins need to get bigger. Comment / I'll put a question mark. Do the Bruins need to get bigger? Now, they still don't have Frederick. Bleed practiced in a non-contact jersey, which is nice, but Bleed's not that kind of physical player and everything. And do you need just a guy that can pummel people? No, but I just think they do, Razor. I think it has to be part of the equation for this team. They have to get they got to get some more size. I mean, because if you can add some more size and then you still have Frederick and then you get Foligno back into the mix and whatever, then you're like, all right, now we've got some options. And it has to be part of whoever it is DNA that they're going to be a more physical type player. I just think it will benefit this team tremendously.
Yeah, I agree. It's the issue is what's their checklist look like, and what's the rundown, and what's the most important? How does it totem pole? Who's at the top? And because if you add that to what they need, the list it starts to add up, right? All the things they need,
Yeah.
Between defense, second line center, depth player, fighter, tough guy, and how you put those pieces together makes it difficult. I think certainly the idea was Frederick to be that guy, right? That's if you back into it, you look at it, and Frederick was supposed to be the one taking those fights, and he hasn't this year. He did it for 5 games last season. He hasn't been able to do it, whether that's injury, whether that's not getting to the spot this season. And if you get another guy like that, then you have to ship some of these guys out. You can't have a bunch of Bleeds and Steens and Kuhlmans and Fredericks and Lazars and then go get those guys. I think that's an issue too.
Yeah, repetitiveness.
How many bottom 6 guys can you have in the lineup? That concerns me. That's my only reservation to that.
Well, I think I think sooner rather than later they need to go out and find that and build that different mindset with the team. Or no, add to that. Add to that. They have to. I mean, look, I thought the third line was their best line in the game against Anaheim. Coyle and DeBrusk and Steen, which is awesome. But I look at that line, whether Jake's here or not, let's just pretend that he is. Let's say they don't trade him. Is that line come playoff time the kind of third line that's really going to be able to withstand? If they're playing Tampa, and
can they wear down Victor Hedman?
Right. Fair question. No.
Right. That's it.
Right. I mean,
can they wear down Victor Hedman? Can they wear down Aaron Ekblad? Can they wear down Morgan Riley?
Right. So that's therein lies. Maybe not so much Morgan Riley, but I do think the third line of Toronto, not bad, but I think they could. But no, I think the third lines of Florida and Tampa, they'd have a hard time doing. They do. So this is what I'm saying. They need to figure that out. That to me is a concern. Few things, just a few more things to get through here. I'm just pulling up. I thought that first of all, I thought there were a bunch of guys falling on the ice all night, like all
There
night
were
in the
so many
neutral
toe
zone.
picks.
I
There
mean,
were
what was
so many toe picks. That
almost?
Foligno toe pick was unbelievable.
Well, that was almost
On the
that was. I almost,
He
I
almost
wanted to
blew his
giggle,
growing out. I know.
but then I'm like, oh my god, that is where you absolutely rip your groin apart and you're crying for 6 months because of it.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh my god, he starts bambying in the neutral zone, and that's just an
Unbelievable.
awful feeling because you
Oh yeah.
start losing control and you're like, you feel like a 4-year-old again, and you're like,
That's right.
whoa, except you don't have the nimbleness of a 4-year-old.
No, everybody.
Um,
There was a ton of guys going down with toe picks too. Usually, like guys are blowing wheels into the net, like the
yeah,
Anaheim guy at the end. Like you get those ones, but there was toe picks. I've never seen that many in a National League game.
which says to me, softer ice, sharp
Mhm.
skate, softer ice. That's what it says to me. Digging in. I'm happy for David Pastrnak. Continues to score. He had 13 attempts, 6 on net, 5 blocked or missed, or 2 missed. Goal and an assist. Okay, you're talking 12 goals now. Month of January, pretty good. His line at times was all right and everything. Um, didn't notice the first line as much. I thought actually they had a great first shift of the game. I actually had Sean, our producer, mark it. I'm like, here you go, good start. Didn't sustain it as much. Um,
Yeah, but I
Tomas
mean,
Schnos,
Brad's just trying to get through to the All-Star break. I mean, he's playing, but he's
yep,
not. I mean, his arm his arm hurts.
right. I mean, what it says to me about his shoulder is that it's not a. We know it's not a collarbone, and it's not a.
It's
It's
not
not a separate.
structural, but it's hurt.
Right, it's hurt. It's a sprain or it's a deep bruise that you're just like you got. Whether you can numb up or whatever to get through, you do it, but it's still not the same.
Yeah.
Um, what was your? Uh, uh, I mean, what was your take overall on Vakanainen the last couple? We talked a little bit about him. I'm starting to dig it a little bit more. I am. I'm
I
starting
liked him
to.
tonight. I liked him
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah. I'm not trying to find the positive here, but I guess I'm trying to find it a little bit. He was one of the few things where I kept saying, "Good play,
Uh-huh.
smart play, nice thought process here." Um, so I'm encouraged by that, Razor. I'm
Me
encouraged
too.
right now.
Me
Okay,
too.
good.
Up close. He moves his feet really well. He's quicker than I thought he was. Just being down there. And yeah, I think he's legit.
All right,
And I'm not saying legit first line. He's an NHL player.
you feel well. Again, I need 15 games or whatever, but I'm saying he's continues to legitimately earn another look.
Mhm.
You talk about kind of repetitive assets. Let's just play it out and
Oh,
hope
there's
Grizz
a yeah, yeah,
is,
yeah.
is short term. But then you've got Grizz and Riley, Vakanainen. Forbert's in because of his PK, end of game stuff. We know that. Grizz would be in most likely because of his, pairing with Charlie. So now you're talking Vakanainen and Riley.
Well,
You
and
can't. You can't.
would you suggest that Forbert and Carlo are the exact same player too?
Yes, with Carlo when he's on, a better skater than Forbert.
Yes, but when he's
Right.
on
Okay, but
is
you got a righty lefty.
leading,
That's the
right?
point though. You got a righty and a lefty. You keep those guys in because they do perform. They when the PK is on, those two guys do their
No,
their
no, no.
gig, man.
They're great. I'm just saying they're the exact same player to me. The
They are.
exact same skill
Okay,
set, the exact
but
same.
I'll take two of those guys with the exact same skill set over more than that of guys that of the others that we're
Yeah,
talking about. You can't have too many of those
yep,
guys and again win come playoff time.
yep.
So that will be interesting to see. I guess what they end up, doing there with those guys. I mean, Riley had a nice assist, but overall it was whatever. But it'll be interesting, I guess, what they do when all those guys come back. I know this isn't an Anaheim show, but I'll tell you this: I liked Anaheim's game. I thought Hampus Lindholm was really good in this game, not just the 3 assists, but the way he moved. I just thought the way in general they played. This is let me finish with this. They were willing to do the little things, including blocking shots. So I looked at this, I saw this, and it was stark. 23 shot blocks for Anaheim, just 3 for the Boston Bruins in this game. Now, doesn't mean blocking shots isn't always a great indicator of things, because a lot of times the team that blocks more is the team that doesn't have the puck as much. However, in this game, it was opposite. Anaheim still had the puck a fair amount, and they blocked all these shots. So they protected middle ice well. But I guess I'll just throw out this question: do the Bruins block shots well enough? Is that just maybe, again, part of that DNA I'm talking about earlier in the show that needs to be more addressed?
It could be. I think tonight was more a product of Anaheim was on the rush more. They,
Okay.
like I said in the opening, they had the Bruins D back on bad gaps, whereas the Bruins, they didn't get anything off the rush. It was all in zone, little wristers from the point, back to the point, shoot the puck. But I think it overall, and not just in the small sample size of the night, I think that is part of the DNA, because guys like Vakanainen and Grizzlick and Riley are not, you don't think of those guys as defensive stalwarts who are going to block shots. And that's really, you're going to, and to that point, even, David Pastrnak, Taylor Hall, Jake DeBrusk, you don't think of those guys laying out either,
Right.
on a consistent basis. So you do have some of that from your wingers, and those are the guys who are typically blocking shots. The wingers and the D are fronting pucks, and they're just not big enough bodies to get hit enough with pucks, and that's usually the best prerequisite to blocking shots. So I think that goes to the DNA of size, to your point.
Yeah. And mentality. That's a good point by you about also off the rush stuff. I just pulled up these numbers. I don't know if this is through tonight's games or up till. Anaheim is 5th overall in the league with blocks at 623. Blocks can also be one of those kind of funky stats, subjective, rink to rink. But the Bruins are ranked 27th at 477th. Interestingly enough, one of the best teams in the NHL, Caroline, has the fewest block shots at 429. So, but they've got the puck a lot too.
Yeah, that's right. And I would say overall Bruins do that too, but yeah.
Apex most entertaining moment of the game. Was there one thing that jumped out? I mean, Pasternak's goal was entertaining. I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm making fun of it. I'm having the Zegras miss of the empty net, and then what was entertaining. I'm not. Look, the kid is fantastic, and he's awesome for the game. What I'm saying is, it was entertaining that the camera stayed on him in the TV timeout, Razor, and the poor kid had a look of, like, he lost his dog, and he couldn't believe it, and how badly he wanted to score coming back to the area where he's from, and he played college hockey, and he's a showman. He's a showman. That's what the kid is about. And they, great kid, confident galore, willing to do things. And when I say it was the most entertaining moment, I'm being a smart aleck about it, meaning just to watch his facial expressions for about a minute straight on the bench. You had to chuckle at it. And anybody who's played hockey at any level has to know that sick feeling of, are you kidding me? I missed that net.
Oh, I was sitting there. I chalked it up to 4-1, and that's the ball game. And then you start thinking, all right, well, how are they getting that? Deal with the rest of this game. Shocked to have him. I don't know how he missed it. He hasn't missed one of those
he
ever
doesn't
in his
know
life,
either.
probably. He really
Yeah.
hasn't. So yeah,
All
I
right.
give him that one. It was really unentertaining. I feel bad for anyone who was.
Yeah, there was a few moments of, and that was about it. But hey,
Yeah,
you know what is always entertaining is Apex.
it is.
ApexEntertainment.com. Go check out Apex and the great location in Marlboro. Apex always has it going there. Games galore, all different types of games, activities, perfect for kids, young adults, and full-fledged adults because they've got all different types of games. The weather is always sunny and beautiful inside Apex, apexentertainment.com. We thank
Foot of
them
snow
again.
coming Saturday, so book your
I heard
reservations in
that.
there.
I
Book your
heard that.
reservations for Saturday afternoon and evening. That's no
It's
good.
really it's that many, it's that much coming up. Like Barry
I
was
think so.
all starting to get all, Barry's at that age. He's like the progressive commercials, like becoming, all, he likes to
What a
talk about
parking
the
spot.
weather and
Oh,
the
the parking would
parking.
have for yeah.
Yes. And the best one, I think, is when the best commercial is when he takes them shopping to a mall or whatever. And the end, the commercial, and the guy's holding a golf shirt that he already has, and he says, let's think about this. Do you remember this anywhere? And the guy's like, oh yeah, yeah. I'll still take it though. I'll still take it. I mean, I totally envision Barry doing that. But no, Barry was all geeked up. He's like, whew, Saturday, like Friday into Saturday. He was like, what are you talking about, Barry? Now you're the second guy. It's gonna be
Oh,
that heavy, huh?
someone had told me, so there you go.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye out for that. We'll give you a weather update then. All right, Razor, when is our next brew? When did we decide? We're gonna do it. Oh, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it the morning after the Colorado game. So Colorado's
Yeah,
on
because I'm
Wednesday
not
night.
staying up that late. I'm not staying up till you get home. I'm not happening.
Well, no, I'm not working Colorado because that's TNT. It's on,
Oh, good. Well, either way, yeah.
we're gonna speed watch that, and then I'm gonna zonk, and then we're
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
get
that's a DVR special, yeah.
right. We will do that game. That we will do a brew after that game, but it'll be midday Thursday that the show will be released, and then we will do another brew after Sunday's game against the Dallas Stars. Everybody, that's going to do it for us. Razor, go get some sleep. I'm going to go do the same. And listen, a 5-2 homestand, pretty good homestand. We would have loved to have seen it 6-1 or at least 5-1-1, but we didn't. Anaheim beats the Bruins 5-3. Everybody, enjoy the day. Try to enjoy your coffee on Tuesday morning. It's going to be all right. Bruins hit the road for a couple of games coming up. We'll talk to you after Wednesday's game.